All right. Well, welcome, Arica Kress, to our first Winning Women virtual series. I'm sure most people know, but if they don't that are watching, you have been a friend of the Sports Commission for ever, I feel like, and a personal friend of mine. So I'm thrilled that you're joining us for our first official Winning Women series. I am Jen Cartmel, the Director of Marketing for the Greater Columbus Sports Commission. With me today is Riley Newhart. She's on the marketing team with us as well. So we're just going to get right into it, Arica. You've worked in the sports industry, I want to say forever with your career and maybe even beyond that. So can you share with us the path that has led you to the head of the strategic partnerships for Esports Engine?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. Like you said, we've worked together for a very long time, so I really feel honored to join you for this chat today. So, for my career path, I went to Kent State University in Northeast Ohio, and I majored in sports management and minored in marketing. And for me, I wanted to get as much experience as I could when I was in school to see what path I wanted to take, what sport I wanted to be a part of. And I did internships in many different areas. So I worked for two different minor league baseball teams in Akron, Ohio, and Lake County, Ohio. I interned with the Cleveland Indians, with the WNBA that was in Cleveland at that time, with the Cleveland Browns for 6 seasons, and also Lowe's Motor Speedway down in Charlotte, North Carolina at the time. And so once I realized I really liked being a part of any sport, I was fortunate enough to get my first full-time job in baseball, working for the Lake County Captains in Eastlake, Ohio, and opened their ballpark up a long time ago. And then I interviewed for a job here in Columbus with the Columbus Crew, and I was there over 14 years. And I started there as Assistant Director of Marketing Promotions, and ultimately when I left the team, I was Vice President of Marketing and Communications. And I oversaw, during my time there, I oversaw everything from marketing, communications, to advertising, our events, our brand, our video, our digital, our community relations, our foundation, our alumni programs, match presentation, and our esports property. So for me, it was an exciting time for a new opportunity. And I looked at a lot of different options, and I was able to join the team here at Esports Engine as head of strategic partnerships. And so for me, it's great because I work with our business development team, our client relations team on the communication side, really building partnerships and driving revenue for the organization. And it's really been great so far.
So Arica, it sounds like you've kind of touched basically every sport you possibly could throughout your career. But I think for many people, esports is probably a whole new frontier. So can you talk a little bit about what attracted you to esports in general, and then what excites you about the Esports Engine team?
Absolutely. So for me, esports is so exciting because of the growth and just the potential that I see in industry. Over my time in soccer, I saw an amazing amount of growth during those 14 years, and esports has already been growing rapidly already. But this time specifically, we've seen exponential growth in esports over the last year in participation, in viewership, and investment. And to be a part of a group with Esports Engine that can help really drive the future of the esports industry, it was just really exciting time for me to join this team, and a great opportunity. I'm glad to be a part of it.
So let's continue on that path a little bit. You've talked a little about how long you were with the crew, and I think it's worth mentioning you were with the crew through some amazing times, some MLS Cup runs, those type of things. So you've seen probably the highest of the highs with organizations and worked with fan bases. So what exactly with Esports Engine, where's that potential for growth? What are we going to see in the next 5 to 10 years with the industry?
Well, there's a lot of things that are happening, obviously, and they're moving very quickly. Like I said, we've seen amazing growth, whether it's from the publishers, from the esports teams. Obviously, events right now aren't happening in person, but we're also doing a lot of broadcast and other things right now, but we'll go back to live events when everything goes back to normal as well. But I think one thing that is very unique to Esports Engine is our parent company, Vindex, just purchased Belong Gaming Arenas, which is based in the UK right now. And they're going to be investing millions of dollars over the next 5 years to build 500 of these Belong Gaming Arenas in the United States and 1,000 globally. And that's really unique in the industry. A lot of, when you think about the industry, you think about playing online or playing remotely, and these LAN centers will be opportunities for people to, these gaming arenas will be opportunities for people to play in person and really create that infrastructure that esports hasn't seen before. Where other sports you've seen that, right? You've seen basketball courts in, high schools and colleges and football fields and baseball diamonds and soccer pitches, right? Where esports, it was really kind of done differently. And so now you'll have that infrastructure throughout our country, but also in the globally around the world. So that's really unique, and that's something specifically that our company is focused on and we're excited about. But there's also there's going to be new growth every year that you're going to see. And I think that we're going to see an extreme amount of growth over these next few years, probably next 5 to 10 years, is going to be really setting us from where we are today to where the leagues and the sport's going to be in the future.
So talking a little bit about your career growth and the growth of these sports and these teams that you've worked with, you've done a lot of different things, but it seems like you've really established, creating these new audiences, like you said, focusing on growth and expansion. Is there any sort of common theme you've taken with you from job to job? Something that you always fall back on, that you can always turn to, that really helps you as you grow and as you grow these organizations?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really about, the fans in the community and putting them first. And whether it's, the fans in the community in Columbus when I was working with the team here, or if we're working with esports and the fan base is global at times, or for a certain game or a certain team. And so whatever we can do to help foster that community, build that community, connect people, provide them with opportunity for their passion and to enjoy their passion and to participate in that, whether that's a traditional sports team or an esports team. It's something I've been proud to be a part of, and I'm excited to continue with this new role.
So on that note about opportunities and threads of common themes, tomorrow and probably when this airs, it'll be Women's Equality Day. So let's talk a little bit about the challenges you faced being in the sports industry as a woman. And then how can those challenges as they persist, how can women work to overcome them?
Yeah, I think a lot of the challenges that we see in the sports industry overall, not everywhere, but overall, it becomes a very male-dominated industry. And you probably see that in other industries as well, where women may be the minority. And I'm sure that some of the challenges are very similar. And for me, I think there's times where you may look around the room or be in a meeting or be at the boardroom table, and you might be the only woman there. And sometimes you feel this obligation of being representative of everyone, right? You have to represent all women well and, be there to be that voice. But the reality is you're there for a reason, and you're there because you earned it and you're good at what you do. And if you represent yourself well, you'll in turn represent, all women well. And it's important that you are there to be that voice and to be able to be that perspective for a lot of people. But more importantly than that, I also think that being able to work with other women and mentor other women or be mentored by women, or also, just having a really strong support peer group has been something for me in my career that I've always really valued and appreciated. Other women that maybe work for the same organization you work with, maybe they work for similar organizations within your city, like this group right here. Maybe they work within your league or your industry, as a whole, and just connecting with those people. And I think that's the thing that has always surprised me, that there's times where I didn't realize I had that support group or that support network. And whenever I've needed them, they've always been there for me. And I just, it's something that I try to tell myself to be that person, right, for other women in the industry. But it's also important that we support younger women too, right, that are coming out of college, that are trying to break into an industry, break into a different department, break into a different, part of the industry, different segment, and either provide them those opportunities, provide them guidance, provide them support, provide them just any type of insight that we've learned over times, and help them raise them up as well.
Well, I'd like to do a follow-up to that because, we were on a call the other day with your team and it was predominantly female. So is
Right.
esports trending that way? Is your team lucky to, have that balance? What are those insights with that?
I think as a whole that in just in general in sports, it probably mirrors the industry pretty similarly. But I think we're really fortunate with the team that we work with that they really value diversity and they really live it, right? It's just not something that's being said. I think that the team that we met with the other day was, there is a great segment of our organization, and we talk about how we can continue to bring diversity to the forefront and how it's valuable to our company and how it brings a lot of important perspective to everything that we do, and that our leadership all the way up here in Columbus at Esports Engine, but all the way through Vindex, has talked a lot about the value of diversity across the board. And I think we know that there could be more growth, and I think that's something that we talk about, and how can we be a catalyst for that, right? Not just say that it needs to happen, is how can we help be a catalyst for that. I don't think anyone would say that the numbers and the representations where it could be, but I think that, to your point, the fact that we're talking about and are aware of it, that's where you're going to see that change.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah. And I think you've made some great points there about the room for growth. And I think a lot of that comes from mentorship, like you said. One thing that has always surprised me in the sports industry is we don't feel like the numbers are there for women that work in the industry, but there's always a support group. And women love helping women in this industry, and I'm sure beyond, and in all facets of the workplace. So are there any mentors that you can, shout out right now that have really helped you throughout your career? Anyone that comes to mind, or maybe a specific time that you felt like somebody really pushed you to realize your full potential, to make you realize I'm supposed to be here and I worked hard to be here, and I don't need to let those preconceived notions affect me like this?
Yeah, I think, I had a really unique career path. My first two bosses were women. So I was really lucky, Katie Dana Miller and Kate Desjardins were my first bosses with the Lake County Captains. And, that was my, immediate mentorship, right? I was, my example was leadership by women. So it was great. And then I think that as I moved to Columbus, I had a great group of women surrounding me that I worked with, but also like throughout the community, like Linda Logan at the Sports Commission is a great example of that. I had other, I think you talked a lot about like the peer group, right? And I think that that's where I've seen a lot of support that at times is unexpected, but it's needed. And so I've had, some of those mentors that I looked up to in that way, but also I think that peer group has been really, really crucial to my growth as well, because those are the people that cheer you on and tell you, you can do this, you need to be there, say that, do this, don't be afraid to put yourself out there, like apply for this job, ask for this promotion, all those different things. And sometimes we don't think about that stuff, or we think, oh, I shouldn't ask, I shouldn't do these type of things. And to be able to have support in that area, sometimes it's things you wouldn't think of yourself.
We're often great at giving advice, right? But we're the worst at taking it for ourselves. So having that support system, I mean, I know Riley and I often joke, we bounce things off each other all the time. And, that's a notion to how we work, but also just supporting each other so that we produce the best product we can for our company. So I love this empowerment of women supporting women. It needs to continue. So with that, you've built such an impressive career with organizations across the state, but obviously you've landed here in Columbus with a leading company. Can you talk about what makes Columbus such an opportune city for women in leadership roles?
Yeah, for me, I just think the city has really always embraced me and embraced, obviously other women in leadership roles. And I think that's important to see that representation. And for me, I've always been really fortunate that I've being able to be really intimately involved in the community, whether it was through some of the work that I was able to do with Columbus City Schools and Lyndon McKinley High School, or Columbus Parks and Rec, or just the fan base, here in person, and just connecting with people and connecting with other businesses, connecting with other city entities like the Sports Commission and Experience Columbus. And, for me, I think that, it's just a very, very diverse city, and it's a very open and welcoming city. And so for me, it just has, it always felt like home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we're nearing our time already, though, of questions that we had planned. But Jen and I did want to catch you with some fun, like, rapid fire questions. We call them rapid fire. Who knows how fast we'll go? But I guess we'll go ahead and just switch off, Jen, if you want to start us off.
I would just say, Riley, roll with it. If we're going to make it as fast as we can, then let's see if we can. Arica, you're our first rapid fire, so it's like setting the bar on how fast this truly goes. So Riley, take it away. Yeah.
Okay, ready? So Arica, your alma mater.
Kent State University, Golden Flash.
Your favorite Ohio team.
Well, the Crew. I mean, I had many, many years there, so I'm proud of everything there.
And your favorite sports moment?
Oh, well, that's an easy one, and there's a connection there. So I've done a lot of things in sports. I've, been at USA Mexico Dos Aceros, all kinds of amazing, amazing sports moments. But my favorite moment was the women's Final Four, where we had 2 back-to-back nights of buzzer beaters. Kobe was in the house, and Arica made that, just talking about it gives me goosebumps. Arica made that buzzer beater second night to win it all. Best for me.
We love that answer. We didn't even tell you to say it. That's
no, but it's other people when they've asked, and that's always my favorite, because it was just such an exhilarating moment.
Perfect. Your favorite local spot in Columbus?
Restaurants, I'd say like Nada Downtown or Whitney House in Worthington, but right now with everything, I've just been trying to get outside a lot. So I think High Banks, Metro Parks, and Alum Creek State Park have been just amazing places I've visited this summer over and over again.
Your favorite movie of all time?
A League of Their Own.
Oh, so good. A food that you can't live without.
That, by the way, did we see that on?
I heard. I'm excited.
Yeah, they are rebooting that, so we'll have to be on the lookout for that one.
I know, more to look forward to. Favorite food you can't live without?
Pizza.
Absolutely. And your 3 words that you would use to describe Columbus?
Ooh, I'd say passionate. People here are very passionate about whatever their passion is. And then active and collaborative.
I agree. I love that.
Yeah. Well, before we go, Arica, is there any final parting words you'd like to share with us?
No, I mean, I think, like I said, thank you for letting me be a part of this, especially on Women's Equality Day. And I'm just excited to, again, try to represent women in this discussion, but I'm just excited to see the growth of women throughout the industry, the esports industry, the sports industry as a whole. And I would just, really encourage women to be that network, to really bring people up and uplift each other. And I think that, by doing that, we'll see continued growth throughout the sports industry as a whole.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. So we'll do it again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Riley.
Thank you.
Bye.